Well, Donald's done it again, Paul. One of those little tweets on trade, and up goes the stock market.
Yeah, look, he's got the market worked out well, hasn't he?
Unbelievable.
I don't know whether... We always thought he was going to see President Xi next week, or I think it is. And look, something's going to happen, but I guess this has got a long way to play out. I thought there was a really fascinating program on that Four Corners broadcast on Monday. Not a Four Corners program, but from PBS in America.
Okay.
That's sort of the equivalent of the ABC, but very non-political. A lot of very senior ex-White House people are part of it. And they basically imply this is going to go on for a long time. That was my take, but worth watching on iView. There's a plug for the ABC. But look, obviously the market gets excited whenever there's signs of... discussion.
Friendliness.
And they're going to have long and meaningful talks. It wasn't just we're going to have a talk. It was long and meaningful. I think that weren't the words, but there was something about...
Can you imagine the dumplings they'll eat? In Japan, it'd be gyozas, aren't they? Gyozas.
Something like that. Yeah. So the market, I think the market still believes, something will happen in due course because Donald wants to be elected again next year. Yeah. Launched his re-election campaign yesterday, a long way out still, but... Donald's doing it and having a few pot shots at other people.
Yeah, and the economic effects of a trade war, it would be devastating. It will be a global recession. It will be a stock market collapse. And it'll be bad for us. It'll be bad for Donald and your re-election. So he has to come up with something sometime. Let's hope it's sooner rather than later. One last thing before we go to how low will interest rates go. This is related. Poor old Jerome Powell. Is there ever a central banker in the history of America ever persecuted like this?
I never heard of the president or someone coming out and saying they're going to demote him.
Demote him?
Demote him. In other words, if you don't do what I want, well, you're out of here, buddy. So, look, in a headlock, poor Jerome Powell. I mean, if you think about what's happened, remember, it was only in middle of November last year, the market was talking about 3 interest rate increases this year. On the 20th of December last year, that's only 6 months ago, less than 6 months ago, the Fed first used the word patience. Right? Now we're talking about at least 3 decreases this year, and poor Jerome, if he doesn't get going, he's going to get demoted.
So Donald hasn't got patience. With patience, he wants a cut.
Well, it probably explains, I think, in some ways, such a remarkable turnaround. Maybe there was a lot more politics going on here behind the scenes that we never heard about. But look, Donald's got he's in control of everything in the States at the moment.
But the funny thing is, and that's an interesting point you make, this could be the most upfront president of all time. Probably behind the scenes, like Nixon, Tricky Dicky and all them, they would have done stuff like this. But Trump just comes out and just tells everybody, this is what I'm doing, I'm the boss.
But they also know he might go ahead with it. I guess Tricky Dicky and others probably did things a little more, this is a bit beyond their skill set, but Donald understands the economy, understands markets. Yeah. He wants an outcome, and if he doesn't get it, he's going to demote you.
Okay, let's talk about our Reserve Bank governor, who would not be threatened with demotion or headlocks or anything like that.
Well, I think theoretically he can't, but I do think Dr. Phil's playing the same game here a little bit.
But he's not being bullied by Frydenberg or Scott Scomer.
He's not being bullied, but it is follow the leader. We've seen Draghi overnight come and talk about, more stimulus in the Europe, sending the euro down a little bit. We've got Trump. Interest rates are coming down. I just think Dr. Phil's can catch up now. The Reserve Bank, NAB and changed their call from 2 to 3 decreases this year in Australia. Yeah. So a lot of people in the market saying cash rate could be 0.75% by the end of the year. Personally, I don't think it's needed, but that's where the momentum is, and I guess we're going to see a cut not next month, but in August is what the market is expecting.
Yeah, I think so too. The interesting thing will be, will banks be able to pass it on, Paul? You should know better than me. You worked in a bank. Can they pass it on?
Well, I think they're going to be a lot more. It's going to be harder each time because the banks simply can't lower their cost of deposits, right? Banking is about a margin business. You borrow at X, you lend at Y. If you have to reduce your lending rates, you've got to reduce your deposit rates. When your deposit rates are already 0%...
You could charge people to put their money in for safekeeping,
or for those
like the old goldsmiths
used to do. Or for those in savings accounts getting that huge sum of 0.01%, you can't cut them, and that's the problem. And so they do run what are called some replicating portfolios to partly guard against this, but it's very difficult. So I think as we saw 2 of the majors withhold part of the rate cut, the first rate cut, next one comes up, they'll all be withholding more. So look, this is why I question whether it's what an impact it has, but I guess we're in the follow the rest of the world suit at the moment.
Strange days indeed. Now, Paul, tax tips, top tax tips before the 30th.
Most important, 30th of June isn't too far away is only, in fact, next Friday is the 28th of June.
Yeah.
So there are two impacts. Obviously, on the tax side, the most important thing generally is if you can, that is to accelerate your expenses and also to defer revenue. So that can work in businesses or for people who are self-employed potentially. When I say accelerate expenses, that's things like prepaying interest. Can you pay things like subscriptions in advance?
Buy your car before June 30th.
Charity donations, all those type of thing. Of course, businesses, you've got the instant asset write-off. $30,000, turnover up to $50 million. That's excluding GST, so it can be $33,000 effectively pre-GST. And it's on an asset-by-asset basis. You can do mobile assets. So if you've got the cash flow and, of course, the taxable income, that's the most important thing. On the super side, don't forget that contributions have to be banked by the 28th of June. So you really haven't got too many days to act. Don't forget things like about the the spouse tax offset. That's if you've got a spouse who isn't working, earns less than $37,000. You make a contribution of $3,000 to their super, you get a $540 tax offset back. Things like the government co-contribution, that's the government puts in $500 if you put in $1,000, that's for low-income workers. Yeah. But that can also work for if you've got adult kids who are uni students or something.
Yeah. I think you should write something this week for people to read.
It'll be in the Switzer Daily. I'll do a recap of that. But look, again, time is of the essence here. On the super side, really, you need to act by next Wednesday. That's only a week away. Yeah. Takes a little time to get organised.
The money's got to be in the bank.
Money has to be in the bank account by the 28th of June. So you need to get going now.
Okay, I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're mad about money.